All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Today I'm here with a second part to the video that I did before of the new champion named Atlas, or code name Atlas, because we're not entirely sure that that is his full name or his real name. But as of the information I've gotten, apparently it is, because this information has been here for a couple of months already. There's been people who saw this data mine. There's been data mine for almost since the beginning of December and so on. It just kind of missed a lot of people. And now that I've been searching about it, I found more things, including a full-sized picture of the little silhouette that we can see in the spray, the legendary spray of Atlas. This picture allows us to see what we have in the shoulder, for example, which by my theory is something related to the pyre. Why? Because of the silhouette that it has. It has wings, it has a sword, and pretty much like Furia, in case you don't know, related to the ancient Greek history. Shout out to my wife that actually pointed that out to me. In the ancient Greek mythology, apparently a Fury was somebody. I actually mentioned this before with the Fury lore, but I'm bringing it back now because of this specifically. In this mythology, they would call a Fury, or a Furia, if you would like to call it like that, a goddess of vengeance, and also known almost as an angel. And if you guys remember the lore of Furia, she was standing in front of that power of the sword, and I think it was even a statue as well related to this. And that was the power of the pyre that was given to her, and she became a Fury, a Furia, with the wings, became the angel of vengeance. Now, why does he have this silhouette in his shoulder? I'm not entirely sure. It could be because he maybe, with time, he got to see the pyre, and now is actually working for the good, for the pyre. He's trying to work for the forces of good, but at the same time, we also see the crystal on his chest, which relates to the paladins, and maybe he's actually working for both. Maybe the pyre is on the side of the paladins, and magistrates end up working with the forces of evil of the abyss. Because, as you guys know, there is certain things that leads us to think like that. Because, for example, on the Furia lore, the magistrate tries to take power from the abyss, which then creates Ceres. So, as you see here, there is this. There's also a sword on his under his belt, on his robes. Again, related a little bit to that as well. And on his head, on his hood, we can see some wings again as well. Now, beyond this, I can't tell for sure anything else. He has some bandages on his arm, which means that he chose to be somebody who's been into war or has been into a lot of fighting. And on his right hand, supposedly, is his weapon. And I see a little square. Now, I'm not a square, a rectangle. I'm not entirely sure what that weapon is, but there's also some extra information that was already out for a while now, but I did manage to find. And now I actually want to do a shout out to Katris and Lucas. They are the people back at Paladins Poland website, Facebook, YouTube, and so on that do a lot of data mine for both Realm Royale and Paladins, okay? And on the data mine that they did, they actually they got an idea before this was all data mined these last few days, like a month or two ago, of everything to come. Remember that I mentioned on my previous video this end times mode event was actually named Crazy King? Well, it is there. It was data mined a long time ago. Let me read you the description just so you can have an idea of what I'm talking about. Crazy King, siege or onslaught, in which we will receive random buffs after choosing a new capture point. Faster cooldowns, faster movement, higher jumps, faster ult charging, increased damage, or increase maximum health. There's also mention of an initial point and a random point. Probably a special map will be prepared for this mode, which will have several capture points. In case you guys don't understand what this is the new event mode that we are having, the end times. So yeah, as you can see, for a very long time we also had this idea of what was going to happen. I just failed to actually notice this. I swear to God, if I knew all of this information before, I would have done a video sooner with all of this information for you guys to know and actually put out there the amazing work that these guys are doing. Now, there's apparently other game modes that were also mentioned, at least 3. So let's go through them really quick. There is one that has a temporary name, Chaos Capture Point. It also has some other names, apparently Fog, Past, Guardian Factory. And then it says the mode has changed since the last update. Now this one doesn't have a lot of information, but it's still a mode. Then we have what it's called the mission. There will be the pre-Guardian and the Guardian phases, which to me this sounds something related to Imani, since she is the warder or the Guardian. I don't know. Maybe it's Atlas. Maybe he's a Guardian of Time. I don't know. We gotta wait to see for this one. It is possible that this one mode, you can see here the reference to Medusa's deathmatch mode from Smite. Now, I already mentioned this before, and some of you actually sort of explained it to me. I haven't had the time to go check it out and see what this actually is. So after I actually end this video, I will probably go there and check it out to see exactly what it is. But I'm thinking this will come after, maybe after 2.02 is actually implemented. So we're gonna have to wait and see as well. But if you guys know what this is, you're free to go down in the comments and explain to me what it actually is. I'm thinking something like survival, I think, because of the fog and so on. I'm not entirely sure anymore. Then it says the mode has changed since the last update. Okay. Then the final one is changes in the event mode Siege of Ascension's Peak and Rise of Furia. This to me sounds like they're going to be trying to bring back these 2 events. Okay. Why? Let's think about it. Siege of Ascension's Peak kind of never ended until this new lore came out, where Genos said, I was just being, held temporarily by this big armored man, but apparently he won the fight, right? Beyond that, we don't know what happened there. Rise of Furia, what happened? I mean, she never saved her sister, right? Furia never saved her sister. And for some reason, the only thing we know is that she just goes down into the abyss and shoots the Abyssal Lord, and that's it. I mean, there's still some lore missing here, and maybe they're gonna be bring back only the modes, perhaps temporarily. If you guys remember the event mode, for example, for Assassin's Peak was 50% cooldowns on everything. And for the Rise of Fury, it was something like, I may be mistaken here. Yeah, it was the platforms to reach on the top of the map. And then you would have a boost for the... first of all, you would have boosts across the, the climb. And if we would, you would get the most, or the... No, I think it was the team to get first to the crystal and destroy the crystal, or the team that would do more damage to the crystal would then have an extra boost on the map itself, on the TDM map itself, up top. But we couldn't actually select like talents or cards, so it was actually really hard for us to do that. But even so, let's continue. As for the so-called packs, I actually mentioned this on my previous video, okay guys, but I'm still gonna put an image on screen. I did mention the Jade Prowler mount, and here it is. This was that mount a long time ago in Ram Royale. You can even see the picture on his back saying Ram Royale. As you see, this supposedly maybe was for Ram Royale, but then they maybe decided they wanted to put it for Paladins. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it will go into both of them. Let's see. There's also a skin that I apparently missed named Stand Future Tech. Now, I don't know what this stand is. I don't know if this is a new champion or something. I just don't know what this is at all. But I didn't mention this on my previous video. And this is also on the data mine. So I'm guessing it was either something that was being tested and now it's actually completely scrapped out. Or I just don't know what else. Now let's talk about Atlas. That's what I really want to talk about, okay? These informations are still very good, but this is the thing that I did not mention on my previous video, which may actually end up being critical for this. Apparently, ISQ is something like an activation that generates ammunition. I'm not entirely sure what this does. Maybe he can generate ammunition for himself and people around him. Or I'm not entirely sure if it's something like with energy, maybe how his weapon looks like. But if we remember the sound, his weapon sounded almost like a cannon, a sniper, or a caravan. I'm not entirely sure anymore. But the Q is still pretty vague. As for his F, is called rewind. It's probably the description of the skill was drive back to coming darkness before it's too late. So, I'm not entirely sure what this means, but I'm guessing this is something like almost, if you guys remember the, what's her name? Sombra on Overwatch. She throws a little deployable, a little thing that she can use to come back to it. Now, I'm either guessing this is something like that, but it actually just brings back time and it has a limit. In case you guys don't know, I played the game a long time ago. I can't remember what the game was, but you could place something down and it would record the time specifically for that. And if you would wanted to go back in time, whatever happened after you placed it, it would be completely just throw back. You would just go back in time until the moment you place that down, that little deployable. And it's almost like the Talus, the Talus ability, but in time for everybody. So you could even perhaps, maybe not in the end of the game, like the final point, but imagine that somebody just captured the point and you deployed this before they captured the point. Maybe you could actually throw back time and actually take away the point. Or maybe they won't actually take function to the point, and maybe just take function to whether your enemies, your allies are dead or alive, or their positions. Or maybe you just your position yourself. Maybe your health. Almost like a Blink from Tracer, where she goes back in time as well and she even gets her health back. Something like that, perhaps. It's also mentioned that there is a device that sets up. This device is probably firing Fury bullets. So almost like a turret, but at the same time it doesn't mean the rewind. So maybe it's not exactly what I'm saying, but I can't tell for sure if it's a turret. Because if it is a turret, it's pretty much the same thing as Barrack. But at the same time, we can also see that he's going to have deployables. There's going to be something that we can use the bulldozer against him, right? As for his right click, apparently activates a burst mode in which he has 10 ammunitions, something like the right click for Vivian. The right click for Vivian is actually an aiming down sights, so I'm not entirely sure how this actually sets up. I don't think that's it. I think there's something here that is wrong, but even so, I'm guessing it's something like almost like the overcharge of a Talus, but for his weapon, which could be like a cannon, and you could just straight up start shooting like pop, 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 like really strong, really fast. I mean, could be. I'm not entirely sure. As for the ult apparently invokes something called Instigator that deals damage. What if this is the ultimate that we were predicting? Something like a bubble. You create a bubble almost like the Dredge ult, maybe a little bit bigger. Anybody inside of it will be damaged and also will be slowed. Like, not slowed, sorry. They will be in slow motion, but not you. You could just literally shoot them and look at them. One of the things I forgot to mention on my previous video, which I actually had that idea as soon as I saw the showcase, I just never actually connected to the new champion, was that if you saw they used a feature for Makoa where they actually ended up doing like a slow-mo, and you could see everything normally as you were moving normally, but you could, see everything inside of that little space in slow-mo. In that case, it was the entire game. He did that with both Dredge and Makoa. Now, if they're using that, my first initial thought is, what if this is actually them teasing us that this may be an ability or actually an ultimate of the Atlas? Maybe it will be like the entire map gets, like a slow-mo function of like for at least 10 seconds, where everybody is in slow-mo. You know when, for example, we're about to end a round, like you just failed to capture the point, deliver the point, the payload, or you failed to defend the payload, and it starts slowing down after that little title appears on screen. Imagine something like that, because some people still try to get some kills on that precise moment. It's easier to aim, that's true, but it's also hard for us to move around. So imagine something like that has his ultimate, and maybe he is the only one who can actually move around with normal movement. That would be awesome. That would be lit, actually. And now for the final information. 4 cards were apparently data mined for him. These are very straightforward 4 normal cards. The first one increases the amount of his health. The second one increases the amount of his ammunition, so we know that he has a gun. The third one, when you're below an X amount of health, it will increase your receiving healing. So I'm guessing this is going to be a tank, definitely. This is a card that usually goes more for the tanks than any other champion. And then there's the fourth one, which eliminations increase ult charging. Okay, so we got this. And before I end the video, I also found some data mine on another place. I can't just tell for sure because I closed it. I just don't know where it is anymore. But in this data mine, they said that Atlas actually had multiple weapons. I wouldn't be surprised, since the last few champions that Hi-Rez has been releasing have multiple kits, like Imani, Fire and Ice, like Koga, Claws and Machine Guns. You know, the Strix has 2 type of weapons. Kanessa almost has 2 type of weapons herself. And I'm guessing they're trying to enter this way of allowing you to have more ways to play with champions without actually having to go just for the cards. Imagine every single champion having double 2 types of plays, like 2 types of weapons. That would be crazy. Now, from the picture that we saw, we can tell for sure that weapon is like some massive weapon, like a cannon or something. Not entirely sure what it is. I can't tell for sure if he's actually one of the good guys or the bad guys. I mean, for his eyes, it almost kind of scares me what it is. What the hell is he? But from the things on his armor, some people even brought to my attention that it was something related to a Warhammer, a game where there's the Space Marines and so on. I never played the game, by the way, but I kind of know the silhouette of those that were, the Marines, the Warhammer Space Marines and so on. But I'm still thinking this is a tank, especially because of the way that he's built, and also the fact that I think Hi-Rez kind of is. Not Hi-Rez. I'm keep saying Hi-Rez, but it's Evil Mojo, where they're basically just trying to go on the same order. I'm not entirely sure what the order is right now, but I know that the next one was supposed to be a tank. So maybe it is. Let's see. Let's wait and see. And that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for people back at Paladins Poland, which is Katris and Lucas. Thank you so much, and anybody else who was involved into it as well. And also shout out to the person who was on Reddit that managed to grab the image full silhouette of Atlas, which I believe it's I'm Mark. Thank you for that as well. And yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, have a wonderful time. Bye bye, guys. See you next time.